An inmate at the Virginia Department of Corrections, Red Onion State Prison. To accept this call, press 0.
This is Randall Vaughn. I'm currently serving 1,214 years for capital murder in Red Onion State Prison in Pound, Virginia, in the USA, and this is my podcast, Red Onion Randy. Hope you enjoy listening to me today. I got a call on my voicemail. They left no name, but here's what they said.
I have two questions. What's a day in the life like? Could you give us like a rundown of like, you know, what a normal day for you looks like? Like a lot of people would think, well, you're just sitting in the cell, there's not much to do, but, you know, I've been incarcerated myself. Definitely not as long as you have, or been in solitary confinement, but, you know, what's the schedule look like for you as a ex-convict? I know that, you know, there's things that you have to do throughout the day to keep yourself occupied, and everyone has a different regimen. So, yeah. Also, another question would be, how do you keep from, like, going insane? You know, like, I know a lot of people, they go insane on 23-1, but, you know, you seem to have a sound mind to you, and I know that can be hard.
A typical day for me is I have a little Timex Iron Man watch. You know, it has 3 different alarms on there, and I set an alarm for 5:10 in the morning. And I get up. I've already pre-made my breakfast, which is 2 packs of oatmeal. I'll eat half of that. You know, I'll wash up, get myself ready and everything, and then I'll kneel in front of my bed on a blanket that I have folded up specifically for that purpose. And I'll pray for somewhere between usually 40 to 60 minutes every morning. The reason why I choose to do it at that time is to put God first in my life. There's a verse in the Bible that says, seek his kingdom and his righteousness first, and all these things will be added unto you. So that's what I do. Plus, you know, the pod is quiet during that time, especially when the top tier comes out. The pod that I'm in is a general population pod, but it's split into 2 different sections. You have the bottom tier, which is all single cell, which is where I'm at. I'm on the bottom tier. I have a single cell. I've been in the cell by myself for over 16 years. The top tier is double cells. There's 2 people per cell on the top tier. And they're, for the most part, they're a bunch of young, fake-ass wannabe gangbangers. The guys on the bottom tier, with the exception of 1 or 2, are guys who have put in work before. These are guys who have stabbed people. These are guys who are dangerous. These are guys who actually will do something. Top tier, nah. Most of them are running. Most of them are hiding. They can't really go anywhere else. So they tend to put them over here with us. And they are freaking loud as hell. So, you know, I like to get up earlier in the morning. Even though I'm not a morning person, I hate the mornings. I despise morning time. It is the worst time God ever created as far as I'm concerned. I know some people love it. I am not one. But I make myself get up anyway, and I make myself pray because it's quiet. It's peaceful. I can pray. I talk to the Lord. You know, I pray for his will. You know, and I really don't pray a lot for myself. But the only thing I really ask for is just, you know, spiritual enlightenment, continued growth on my path, things of that nature. And that usually takes me up to around 5 to 10 minutes after 6. And, you know, I get up, I'll wash my hands and everything, and usually about that time they're popping doors for us to come out for breakfast. Now I have a pod feeder job. So on a break, I come out and I work. I'll pass out the trays. We'll take them out to car, count them, make sure they're right. You know, we'll pass them out to the guys, you know, make sure that they get the right trays. You know, you got some guys want to come down and try to steal trays, extra trays. That ain't happening, not with me. So, you know, I do that on one break, and the other break I don't work. They got 2 other people working on that break. But I'll come out and I'll get my breakfast, and I'll go back in. And I'm on, I don't eat the regular tray anymore. I'm not on that diet anymore. I'm on the Jewish Orthodox tray. So for breakfast, we get this little container of either oatmeal or farina. I don't eat the farina. I don't like it. It's just the consistency of it just does not go well with me. So I usually just give that away to somebody. The oatmeal, I'll save, we'll either get 2 packs of peanut butter. We'll get 2 boiled eggs. It's already been peeled, which I don't eat. Now, I like boiled eggs, but I'm only going to eat a boiled egg if I'm the one that peeled it. For some reason, I find it extremely gross and nasty to eat a boiled egg that's already been peeled. No, I won't do it. Or every now and then they give us these little black trays that's got a plastic seal over it of just this little powdered egg omelet, which isn't too bad. You got to take it and once you open it up, you got to take a big wad of toilet paper and press down into it to get a lot of the water out of it because it's drowning in water. Excuse me for that. I apologize. But, like I said, I'll eat the omelet. I'll chop that up at lunch and put it in some rice or something. But after breakfast, after, either I'm working or I'm just waiting to come out, I come out for pod rec. In the mornings, we usually get 2 hours every other day. And on the other days, we'll get an hour and a half of pod rec per tier, because they don't let the bottom tier out with the top tier, and they don't let the top tier out with the bottom tier, except for when we go outside for rec. And that's the reason why we get an hour and a half one day, and because we'll get an hour outside on the rec yard, and they'll put the bottom and the top tier on the same rec yard, so we're outside. We get outside rec together, but we don't get pod rec together, which makes no damn sense. But honestly, I'm fine with it because it just makes it easier to get on the phone. It makes it easier for me to talk and record these episodes without having a whole bunch of people screaming and yelling. Because I almost got to fight the other night. He had this one guy, he pulled up on a dude that was using my phone. This dude named Little Homie, and dude pulled up on him like, yo, man, that's my phone. I want that phone. I'm trying to use that phone. Little Homie looked at him like, man, I don't know who the hell you talking to. So dude ain't say nothing. He walked away. So when I came up, I told Little Homie, man, when you done, let me know. He was like, man, well, New York, man, I don't care what New York said. This is my damn phone. So evidently when Little Homie got off, he called me. I got on the phone, and I started talking to a buddy named John in Missouri. And Little Homie pulled up on New York. Like, yo, look, man, I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. So, dude, New York, man, you know who I am, son. I'm a killer, son. I'm blah, blah, blah. And he just started doing so. Little Homie didn't want to fight him because he had some stuff in the cell that he ain't want to get tore off with. So Little Homie just backed off of him. Dude over there standing under the steps just screaming as loud as he can, getting the CO's attention. The CO don't care, man. She's actually cool as she can be. She's just sitting up there holding a gun like, man, y'all want to fight. I don't give a damn. And it got so loud. I just had to tell John, yo, look, man, dude, I can't do this no more. I'm done, man. And because I can barely hear him. I could barely hear what the man was saying to me. So I hung up, and I didn't hang up on John. Even he knew I was hanging up. And I pulled, as I was walking to the steps, I said a quick prayer, like, Lord, look, man, I don't want this to go sideways, but if it does, it does. Give me favor, but I'm saying so. I'm tired of this, man. I'm tired of being treated like this. And by the time I finished the prayer, I was standing right there under the steps with him and said, look, man, dude, I can't hear on the phone, man. I'm getting tired of y'all screaming and arguing and yelling, and y'all ain't fighting. Y'all ain't doing nothing. All y'all doing is running y'all's mouths, man. I'm sick of it. Show me the same respect I show you. Dude, look at me, man. This between me and that black man. I don't give a damn who it's between. I'm sick and tired of me coming out here trying to talk to my family and my loved ones, and I can't hear them because y'all acting like a little bitch. And I just looked at it, saying, he said, okay, all right. And I walked away. So he still said a few things to old boy. He's still running his mouth and whatnot, but he was doing it quiet. He wasn't screaming at the top of his damn lungs. I mean, I'm serious. I'm so tired of dealing with children. But this is the funny thing, though. That night, he had to realize he screwed up because little homie was going to get him. And honestly, I was at the point where I was ready to just slap the taste out of his mouth myself. But, thank God I didn't do anything. But the next morning, the dude woke up, and we was all out here for pod rec, and I'd got a haircut. Little John cut my hair, and I turned around, and I was cutting Little John's hair. So everybody was out on the bottom tier except for one person, a preacher. He'd stayed in the cell. So this dude, New York, he's standing down there by the steps. He steps back, and we had a new officer working in the booth, and she doesn't know anybody over here. So he's like, yo, I'm trying to go up, locking down, cell 4. So the dude show off was looking like, yo, what? Hold up, it's my damn cell, because New York is in cell 9. So they actually open cell 4. So dude runs in the cell, and they close the door. He's in there running around, and show off had actually told me later on, he's like, yo, look, he said, man, I don't know what it was, but something was telling me, man, put my TV up. So he had actually wrapped his television up and had stuffed it under the bed behind some clothes and some other stuff. So dude grabbed his commissary. So the dude show off, he did snitch. I'm not going to lie, he did snitch. He was like, yo, Saxton, man, why you open my door? Why you let this dude in my cell? So they opened the door, and the dude came out with dude's commissary, and he walked up here to where the phones are, and he sat down on a little box that I'm sitting on right now. And I was sitting there thinking, like, okay, you go eat man's commissary, you gonna open it up, dump it on the floor. He just stood there and just sat there. So by this time, the CO in the booth had called the floor officers and the sergeant and everything, so they come running in the pod, pull up on dude, yo, man, what the hell are you doing, man, blah, blah, blah. Dude was like, yeah, I'll get locked up for this, Man, dude, you checking in, bro. You checking in. You ain't do nothing to little homie. I pulled up on you under the steps because I was ready to go. I'll fight you under the steps. And the reason why guys want to do it under the steps is when they start to shoot, they can't shoot through them steps. But this is the thing. They're not shooting rubber bullets at you anymore. They're shooting these little ceramic balls that are filled with tear gas. So they're just simply going to shoot the steps, and the gas is going to go everywhere. Whatever, man. I'll fight you wherever you want to fight. I don't give a damn. So, like, that's stuff that you have to deal with in here. But, yeah, dude was a straight-up bitch, man. I had no respect for that. But that's a part of my day, having to deal with stuff like that. So that's why I like to get up early in the morning and pray, because it helps center me. It helps remind me of what I'm doing. It reminds me of what path I'm on, the life I've chosen to live. When I come out for pod rec, usually I'm either on the phone or I'm on the kiosk, though the kiosk has been broken for a month now. Which is extremely frustrating because I know for a fact I'm going to lose people, friends, think that I cut them off or whatnot. But that is what it is. It's prison life. That stuff happens. You're going to have to deal with it. But if I'm not on the phone or if I'm not on the kiosk, usually me and Little John just walk circles around the pod, and we just, we talk about growing up in the country. We talk about the mountains and hunting and fishing. We'll talk about they got this pretty cool show on the History Channel called Alone. And it's where these people go out there and they get like a 5 square mile radius that they have to stay in, and they have to survive off the land, and the last person standing wins $500,000. You get like 10 items that you can choose from. Most people are choosing a bow and arrow because they realize, man, you can't stay out there for very long trapping rats. Or rabbits. You need fat, and rabbit has no fat on it. But stuff like that. So me and him usually we just talk. Then by that time, lunch comes around. When I'm in the cell, I'm either reading or I'm writing something. I'm working on a full-length fantasy series called The Unchained God. I just started working on another children's story, but this time it's more like a picture book, like a children's bedtime story. I do stuff like that. That's pretty much my day. Whenever I get pod rec, I come out. I try the phone. If I get through to somebody, I talk. If I don't, when the kiosk is working, I'll sit at the kiosk and try to type as many emails as I can as fast as I can, which isn't very fast because I don't know how to type. Though I have been starting to pick it up somewhat. I make myself work out. Usually I work out around 5, in the afternoon. That way, it usually gives me about an hour to an hour and a half to either do cardio or to try to, to build, some muscle and whatnot. Do push-ups, upside down push-ups, some curls with the weight bag that, I fill with paper and magazines and stuff. Or, I do cardio. So, I do cardio. I do a lot of burpees. I love burpees. I hate them while I'm doing them because they're so hard, especially the way I do them. But, when I'm not doing them, I love them because, if I could only ever choose one exercise to do for the rest of my life, it would be a burpee. Because the only thing it doesn't work is your upper back. And then, if we're lucky, we get a half an hour of pod rec on night shift, in which I'll come out and take a shower. Otherwise, I just, I'm forced to take a bath in the sink, and, I may watch a little bit of TV or usually just read some books. I'm to the point where I hate television. But, when I don't have enough books to read, I make myself watch it, and then I go to sleep at 10 o'clock. That's a life in a day for me here.
To answer the other part of your question, how do I maintain my sanity in here? Good question. I have touched on that before in several different episodes, if I remember correctly, but I don't think I've ever really gone into full detail on that. So I'm going to do that now. The first thing is my faith. Now, I'm not going to sit here and preach to you as much as I would actually enjoy doing that, because, quite frankly, most of what modern Christianity teaches is complete opposite of what the Bible actually says. But maybe I'll save that for some other day. But every morning I get on my knees and I spend that first part of my day somewhere between 40 to 60 minutes praying to God. My faith is very, very important to me. It's what gives me hope. It's what strengthens me. It helps me to deal with the stuff in here, along with my friends and the people who reach out to me and say that I'm helping them and so on and so forth. Then I do my Bible study, and I do actual Bible studies. I don't just read the Bible, a chapter 2 or here or there or whatnot and call that a Bible study. Like, I do in-depth Bible studies. So much so that I actually write out my Bible studies in book form. And usually each Bible study is around 80 to 90 pages front and back. And most of them I don't have no spaces in them or no paragraphs. It's just from the top of the paper all the way to the bottom paper, using every single square inch that I can use on it. One, got to save money because I don't have a whole lot, but, I'm doing good, though. But, that stuff helps me, and, I get to sit there and when I'm done with it and I see it, and I'll reread it and everything and make sure, I'm right and I don't have any mistakes or anything like that, it gives me a sense of accomplishment. And that really helps me because I'm a creative person. I like to create. I like to build. I like to do stuff like that. So, that's what really helps me. Instead of, building like some popsicle castle or whatnot, though I can't do that in here, but it's like it's the same thing, you know what I'm saying? I build with my words instead. I work out. I have to work out. Though I will admit for about the last month I have really struggled with it. So much so that last week I actually had to pray and ask God to give me my hunger back to work out because I had lost it. And all I wanted to do was lay in the bed. But thankfully God answered that prayer. And I had a couple of friends of mine, Paulie and John, shamed me into working out again. But I needed it, so I'll let them slide with it. I won't beat them up over it when I get out of prison. But because it gives you that stress release. I don't care where you're at, how much you can do. If you can only work out for 4 minutes a day, work out for 4 minutes a day. Get something in, because something after a while adds up to a whole lot. Think about it. If every day you walk by a room and you throw a couple quarters or something in there, some change in there, and you do that for 10 years, guess what? Eventually that room is going to fill up with quarters. That's a lot of money right there. It might only be a little bit at a time, but it adds up. So I do the same thing with my workout. Some days I do more, some days I do less, but I try to do something at least 6 days a week. But The main thing that helps me is I create stories, I fantasize, I daydream. You know, that helps me to maintain my sanity as just about nothing else does, because that's my escapism. That's what I can go into my mind. I can go into this world that I created where I'm the God. I have the power. I have the authority. And my will be done. Like, you know, I have that power over these characters, over these monsters, over these bad guys, over these heroes and these good guys and these just average Joes just trying to make a living. Like, I control the day-to-day aspects in there because I have no control in here. I don't control when I get to eat. I don't control when I get to come out the cell. I don't get to control when I can use the phone or, you know, I can take a shower. I'm at the CO's mercy when it comes to what I can or cannot do. So I have to find areas in my life where I do have control. And for me, that's in my stories. And that's what helped me save myself from going insane in solitary and here in prison. I still do it to this day, even though I am in population, even though I do have a television now, you know, even though, you know, I have friends who do buy some books and send them to me, and I can read a little bit more than I used to, and so on and so forth. I still love to create stories. I still love to go back and look at some of my stories and, you know, to visit some old friends because they are old friends. In some ways, it's just like a child creates an invisible friend when they're a child. I had to create invisible friends in here, even though I am a grown man, because it allowed me to create.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Creation is what we're supposed to do. We should always be creating because it helps us. It helps us to feel good about ourselves, and it helps us to be better than what we are. But yeah, thank you for your question, No Name. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my stories with y'all.
This has been Red Onion Randy. Don't forget to check out my website, redonionrandy.com, and my Twitter account, @RedOnionRandy. If you want to ask me a question, you can call my toll-free number in the U.S., 1-888-524-1932. And for all international calls outside of the U.S., all you have to do is add a plus in front of the 1. Take care. Stay safe.
Now, I'm actually going to share the very first story, the very first character I created. Because I've talked about this numerous times, but I've never actually given y'all, I don't think I have, I've ever given y'all, you know, like actual details of one of my stories. So, this is it. Hold on, I'm grabbing it right here because I actually have it written down. My character's name was Liam Hawksblood, and he was the son of a hunter. You know, the mother had passed away in childbirth, and, you know, the father, that's what he did. He was a trapper. He was a hunter. So he would go up into the mountains a lot of times, you know, by himself or with his wife, and now with, you know, my character, his son, and he hunts and traps for furs and bones and meats and stuff of that nature, scales and everything. You know, I got a whole bunch of weird animals in there. You know, I got one called a dragarine. Now, picture a wolverine, like the size of an elephant, but longer. And he's covered in dragon scales. He has no wings. He looks just like a wolverine, but he's no fur, just covered in dragon scales. Like, this is a bad, right? I mean, if you know anything about wolverines, you know, they will literally chase a full-grown male grizzly bear off of their kill. Like, these are some nasty little motherfuckers. So imagine them the size, bigger than an elephant, and covered in dragon scales. But there's a way to kill them, and the way that you kill them is you got to have a good spear, and, well, you got to have some balls because you got to get them to chase you. And you have to run up like a tree or like a cliff face. And you know how you got some people who run up it, and then when they get to the top of their run, they'll flip over backwards? Well, that's what you have to do, and you have to have that spear, and the dragarine will run up after you. And when you turn around, you have to come down leading with the spear, and you got to aim it into his mouth. And at the roof of your mouth, you got a soft spot that goes straight up into your brain, and that's how you kill him, because that's literally the only way you can kill him. So he hunts those, and He's a good fighter. He's not a trained fighter, but he's a hunter. And so he knows. See, let me explain something. People always talk about me being a fighter, me being a fighter. I actually, in real life, I don't view myself as a fighter. And the reason why is this. You have a warrior, you have a soldier. See, when they go into a contest with someone, they fight against that person. This is where a hunter differs from a warrior or a soldier. When a hunter goes into it, he kills. He doesn't fight the person, he simply kills them. And that's when I'm in my fantasy mode, that's how I look at myself. All my characters that I created in my head, they all have that saying, and I'll always put it in there because, like, that's the way it should be in that environment, in that setting. You know, I don't want to sit there and just bang swords against one another for half an hour until somebody makes a mistake. No, I'm just going to flow through your defense, and I'm going to take you out. So that's the way the father is, and that's the way he taught his son. So one day, they came across Master Lockhorn's wife and granddaughter being attacked in an ambush. Master Lockhorn, he was the grand master of this fighting school in this world that I created. I don't even remember the name of the world. It's been so long ago, but it was like this really, really, really prestigious school for fighters. And his daughters had actually died, but his granddaughters were still alive. And they was coming back from the sea on vacation. The granddaughters wanted to go and visit the beaches and stuff like that. And it's somewhat similar to our world, just modern day technology or stuff like that. But so my character, Liam's Hawkblood, and his father, they came across it and they helped him. And, they saved their lives. But in the process of it, my character's father died. And my character was still around 13 years old, so he was still young. Yeah, he could have survived on his own. He knew how to live in the woods and everything. But the grandmother, Master Lockhorn's wife, was like, no, you're coming with us. And she was a very forceful personality, so, old boy, he just went ahead and bait and went with her. So what happened was, when they got back to the school, of course, the grandmother and the granddaughters told the Master Lockhorn what had happened and everything, and Master Lockhorn had given, him permission to join that school. He paid for his tuition out of his own pocket and so on and so forth. There was one teacher who was like, no, this dude is not royal blood. He's a peasant. And Master Lockhorn said, he saved my wife and my granddaughter's life. Do you really want to push this issue? And he put his hand on his sword hilt. And the teacher got the point, this would probably be a good time for me to shut up. And he did. So a couple of years go by, and he's in the school, and he's training, and he's learning, and he's kind of shunned and everything, and because he is a peasant, and everybody else there is of royal blood, or their fathers are merchants who are exceedingly rich. Like some of them are richer than some kings, and so they get to go there and all that stuff. So he's kind of feeling alone and everything, and him and Master Lockhorn's granddaughter Sarah, they actually wind up developing feelings for one another because, Liam helped save her life, lost his father to save her life and her sister's life and her grandmother's life. So, they never shunned him. He was always invited to their little living quarters for dinner and, to talk and some extra training and stuff like that. He received an education. He learned how to read and write and speak a couple of languages while he was there. And so they fell in love. And one day, let's face it, man, you got to have some drama. You had this prince, very tall, very handsome, very good looking, sophisticated, urbane, stuff like that. He was just an arrogant dick, though. And so he pulled up on Sarah. I'm like, man, why are you with this peasant? You should be with a man like me. I'm a real man. He's nothing. He's trash. He's garbage. He's beneath you. And she was like, no, I love him, blah, blah, blah. So he just grabbed her and kissed her. And, of course, that's when my character, Liam, walks around the corner and sees it. And it looks like she's kissing him back. And when old boy lets go, she turns and sees him out the corner of her eye. And he's upset. He doesn't hear anything. He sees red, and he just turns and walks. And she runs after him. Oh, stop. And so he goes into the mess hall. And in the mess hall, it's a big room. You know, obviously, y'all know what a mess hall is. And at the back where the teachers sit, there's a platform. And there's these 13 steps that go up from the platform up to this wall. And there's like this magical door there. And it's got this rim going around it. I can't think of what it's actually called, but like an arch thing. And it's got these magical symbols on it. And before anyone can stop him, before anyone really knows what's going on, he opens the door and walks in and then closes it. And once a person goes in, only one person can enter at a time. And it's magically sealed after. You cannot come out until you figure out how it is. So when he goes in there, you know, everybody else on the backside, some of the teachers, some of the people that are kind of cool with him, they do respect him, and obviously Sarah, like they're distraught and devastated because nobody in tens of thousands of years have gone in and actually walked out. Now, when he gets in there, there's like just tons of skeletons. Some of them are so old that when he touches them, they just turn to dust. Some of them have been petrified. Some of them are still fresh. Some of them still have like meat and stuff, you know, like little clothing and whatnot hanging off of them. And there's just like scratches on the door from fingernails, and there's just like piles of fingernails in there where people have tried to scratch their way out before they starved to death. And there's just only one strange anomaly. There's like a crystal clear sword blade sticking out of the wall, chest height. And that's it. There's no handle. It's just a sword blade sticking out. So, you know, Liam, in his anguish and grief, he just basically lays down and wants to die. Like, he's hurting. He's in real pain. I mean, think about it. Like, his father gave his life for her and her family, and this is how she betrays him like that. Like, he can't get it out of his mind. And, you know, remember, by this time he's like he's like 16 or 17. And, you know, so he's still young. He's still, you know, somewhat inexperienced in life and all that stuff, especially in love. And so he just lays in a ball, curled up and everything, and he cries himself to sleep. And he does that for like a couple of days. And then he just gets up and he just looks around and he's so despondent. It's like, screw it. And he walks over to the sword blade and he puts it right where his heart is. And he just throws himself on the sword blade to kill himself. But that's the secret to the sword, because the sword is called the sword of blood. And when he does it, like, it draws all the blood out of him, like, and it fills that sword with blood, and it changes it from crystal clear to the blood sword. And then it puts the blood back in it, but the blade still has the color of blood in it because it still has some of his blood. It didn't give all of it back. It kept enough of it to fill it, and that connects him with the sword, and like it gives him like enhanced abilities. It makes him stronger. It makes him faster. It gives him better balance, better endurance, agility, quickness, reflexes. Like, I mean, it really, basically in some ways turns him into a super soldier. He can still be defeated, but you're going to have to be really freaking good to do it, or you're just going to have a lot of men and just throw waves of them at him. So he realizes that he's still alive. He pulls himself off the sword, and that's the crazy thing. There's no pain when he pulls it out. There was pain when he pushed it in, but there was no pain when he pulls the sword out, and it's got the handle there, and he's got the scabbard is magically around his waist and everything. So he sheaths it, and the door opens. And when he walks out the door, years have gone by. And so the girl that he was in love with, she's already moved on. She's already gotten married. Thankfully, not to the super dick, but you know, another decent guy. You know, they've had kids and everything, and which is a good thing because the sword will allow Liam, my character, to stay alive until he is defeated, until he is put down. And when he does die, the sword will automatically go back into that room, and that room is completely sealed until the sword is back in there. So that was the very first story that I created, and that's what helped me save myself from going insane.
Thank you for using GTL.